What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to another special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have a very special woman who slowly but surely, in due time, is becoming a very special friend. And the reason why I say that is because we have some of the same ideas, some of the same philosophies. As a matter of fact, I actually have her website pulled up here in front of me where she has three things that I personally agree with, and I feel like we should all have this mindset where we should speak your truth, we should clear your mind, and most importantly, we should free your soul. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about at this point, you should. Let's just say she has a millionaire mindset, if you know what I mean. With that being said, let me introduce the lovely Miss Monique Dennis onto the HFWB podcast series. Welcome aboard, Monique.
Hi, Clifton. Thank you so much for having me. It's
No,
been a pleasure.
of course, of course. Well, Monique, for everyone who's listening to the podcast right now, tell the people about your background and what it is that you do exactly.
Yeah, okay. Well, I am from Flower Bluff. I'm here from Corpus Christi. I grew up in Flower Bluff. And basically at this time I am a psychologist and I'm an author. I work as a career counselor at Southern Careers Institute. And I'm just always working on my next book. So constantly writing, always writing. And then I was somewhat of a troubled youth, as you know, as my mom liked to call it, my rebellious teen years. So I've tried to use that and just kind of use my story as as a crossover for motivational speaking to troubled youth or at-risk youth. And just kind of letting them know my story of like, you can go through all of these things and you can still have a triumphant victory. You just have to persevere through and want it more, than you want all those other things. So just trying to use my story, my testimony to help, adolescents and teens.
You mentioned you're a very well established author in your own right. And if I'm not mistaken correctly, you pretty much approached the 1 year anniversary of you releasing one of your first original books.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. So waking up this morning and like seeing, this is what I love about social media, is the fact that you kind of get to see your memories.
Yes.
So it was so perfect. It was full circle this morning, waking up of like, wow, like it's the 1 year of me publishing my book. And what's so great about this particular book is it's a collection of poetry, and they're all poems that I wrote throughout those troubled teen years that I was just telling you about.
Right.
So that's why it's so very near and dear to my heart. And it was so important for me to publish specifically that collection of work, because it was during a time in my life for me where it was just a very difficult time in my life. And I went through a lot of learning and growing and a lot of personal battles. So specifically, this book is definitely, it's very personal. So it was very hard to publish it because, it's looking into my soul, or looking into who I was so much.
Yes.
But yeah, today's the 1 year. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's a good day. And it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
I appreciate that. For those who are listening to the podcast right now and who will listen to this at a later date, today is officially my birthday.
Woo!
But overall, as far as your book, your title of it is Emotional State of Mind, Adolescents Love Poetry, which kind of makes sense based on everything you just said as far as what you went through during the teenage years, as far as writing those poems and just using that to kind of like reflect on what you went through and basically just tell your story within itself. But overall, I admire that tremendously because we all have that one experience or a few experiences rather that we go through growing up within those teen years that in a way define us to where we can go back and reflect on that when we have to. It's just something about that that just blows my mind within itself. Where does your overall passion for writing come from as far as how did you really get into it deeply like this?
I felt like it came from my teen years, from what I was going through as far as growing up and the battles that I was facing. And then I felt like I didn't have people to talk to all the time. I couldn't always talk to my parents. I couldn't always talk to friends. So for me, my outlet was writing. I would write it down to get it out of me, to get it off my mind. Hence where my slogan comes from of speak your truth, clear your mind, free your soul. Because, for me, people will tell you that I can be somewhat of a blunt person. I can be, too honest or too, but I'm just real big on speaking your truth, so that way there's no misunderstandings, there's no miscommunications. I verbally communicated to you. So it really just came from just trying to get these thoughts out of my mind that I maybe couldn't speak at the time, and getting them on paper. And it really helped as an outlet, for all the thoughts and the emotions that I was going through internally as a young teenager.
And that's one of the main reasons why I like you so much, Monique, because you're not afraid to tell it like it is, and that's exactly the same cloth that I'm cut from as well, because that's just how I was raised from my mom and my dad, as far as just always telling it like it is, never faking the funk, and just putting it out there. And if they don't like how you feel about it, it's just like, hey, it's not meant for everybody. That's the way I look at that. But as far as,
Yes.
yes, as far as everything else, as far as the writing and stuff, my understanding is you also do your own podcast as well. Tell us a little bit about that and where it all.
Yes. Yes. So I have my own video podcast that I host, and that just came about from, I guess, I don't know, it's called Outspoken. So I guess it goes along with me speaking my mind and speaking my
Yeah,
truth. And a lot of times, I have ideologies about things and I have opinions about things. And then I know that I'm educated and knowledgeable. So I had knowledge that I wanted to spread to other people as well. So that's kind of how my podcast came about, is just that, and the fact that I knew so many people locally that are doing great things. And I wanted to help spotlight my community and spotlight the people in my community. So that's been important to me too, as far as getting people that I know or people that I don't know, just acquaintances, getting them on, letting them tell their story, seeing how they can help other people with what they have to say. So yeah, I've been doing that for a little over a year now. And I think one of the things that I make sure to do is not to just feel like I have to be doing something, or I need to hurry up. And I just kind of do it gradually. I do a podcast here and there. I might not be as professional about it as you are. It's more of like my hobby pastime. So, but I really enjoy it.
I wouldn't say me personally. I take it more of a professional standpoint. I kind of come from the same light as you, as far as if I see somebody within the community in which I love their story and what it is that they're doing, I'm like, you know what? I need to get to know this person, and I need to get to bring them on, hence how we got connected and how you're on my podcast. Because like I said, Monique, you're doing a lot of great things for the community that's within the conversation we had within our meeting. Like, I could tell you're doing a lot of stuff as far as helping out the troubled youth kids within itself. I mean, you're doing motivational speaking, you're basically offering your own personal services to where people need that additional guidance. You're there to help them along the way. And speaking of that, what kind of service are those exactly that you're offering for those who are listening to the podcast?
Yes, I offer motivational speaking towards adolescents and the youth. I'm also a freelance writer, so any type of writing pieces people need done. So like as of right now, an example would be is that I freelance write for the Bend magazine here in the Coastal Bend.
Hmm.
So so writing, and then most of motivational speaking. I'm also a counselor, so I can do counseling slash kind of life coaching and helping people through with strategic planning and things like that. I'm still on my journey, so I really help people that are just in that infancy stage of just like, okay, I'm really trying to change my life. For me, my demographic that I'm looking for is people that maybe didn't have a lot of resources or the best upbringing, or someone that's trying to get out of a negative lifestyle that's maybe not taking them anywhere, and trying to turn it into a positive lifestyle towards success. because I feel like that's my background, that's my story. And that's because I had a great upbringing, you know, but where my life led me wasn't always in the best circumstances. So I had to bring myself out of negativity and out of darker times, so that I can see some of the successes that I'm seeing today in my life while I'm continuing to move up. So I'm always looking to help those type of people, the ones that are just kind of like, maybe just feel like, you know, that they'll never reach that success, or they're just kind of like have lots of doubts. And I really seek towards helping those individuals. I'm also, you know, I'm always helping in the community. So anything I can do to be a voice for my community, I'm always speaking up as well in that nature, and things like that. So, but my main things is definitely motivational speaking, counseling, and writing, and being an author.
That is the millionaire mindset right there, Monique. And you like what I just did right there, which is transitioning into the next question that I was going to have for you. Millionaire Mo. I love the nickname, by the way. It's clever,
Yes.
it's catchy, and it basically allows people to like have that mindset of, okay, you got to think like a millionaire, because you got to put yourself in their position and what it is they do to be successful, and apply that to your own life. I saw what you were doing with that, and I actually love that. Where did that concept come from? Like, did you just wake up one day and told yourself, oh, I'm going to call myself Millionaire Mo, or is there something?
No, actually, I had another name before that, actually, as far as my brand. I can't even, I was trying to sit here and think of it and see if I could remember it, but I can't, you know, and I guess that's okay. Because once once the new identity comes up, then the old one is gone. So, so I know I was not always Millionaire Mo. And it's kind of, I had some acquaintances and friends at the time that would kind of call me that, Millionaire Mo, you know, Millionaire Mo, here she comes. She's going to be a millionaire one day. And then it just kind of stuck. I was like, you know what? I like that. And I feel like, and I've had some scrutiny. I've had some scrutiny too from those like, oh, well, you know, she's not even a millionaire. You're not a millionaire. And basically it's not even about the money. It's not all about the money. And as much as I'm going to be a millionaire and I want to be a millionaire, it's more so about, I created the slogan of millions manifesting millions. And my thing is, if I can motivate 1 million people to accomplish their dreams and achieve their goals, then that's more so that millionaire mindset. Or even if it's one person, then I've done my job. So that's where that came from, of just like, I do, you know, I put in the work of lots of research and spending money to take programs and going to seminars and luncheons on how to deal with business and strategic planning. So I definitely feel like I'm qualified to help motivate others.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I kind of say within my own right when I say what's wealth without work. Because like you just said, it's not always about the money. It's about the time. It's about the information. It's about the journey that you gain within all of this that makes you successful, and it makes you basically wealthy in due time. As long as you got time on your side and it's working in your favor, you're going to be successful eventually. That's for sure. But as far as for everyone who's listening, Monique, you have any ideas as far as like your overall future projects you have coming up for the people who want to get in touch with Miss Monique Dennis a lot more?
Yes. So for future projects, right now I'm working on a collection or a series of children's books called Humility High, and I will be presenting those here in the next couple of months as they're going through the production stage. So I'll have my children's books coming out. I really want to jump into that avenue. I am still working on my counseling and working on my career and my education, furthering my education. So, I eventually want to, well, probably coming up, I'm going to switch to doing social work. But then long term, I want to have my own private practice as far as my counseling office. And more so that I can also help people who maybe aren't financially able to pay these counselor prices or these therapist prices. I want to be able to help. I want to be able to make my money by helping those who can, but still be able to afford to do like pro bono therapy or counseling sessions for nonprofit organizations and things like that for people who cannot. And speaking of nonprofits, just so I can throw that in there, I also just started well, I transitioned and I relaunched my nonprofit organization that used to be called the Imani Project in 2020. And I just relaunched that now, called the Child Guardians of South Texas. So y'all please be on the lookout for my nonprofit. We're definitely going to be looking for support from the community. And basically that, my nonprofit is geared towards helping abused and neglected children. And then, as well as being an ally to all child advocacy organizations here locally, and then, hopefully worldwide. So that's what I'll be working on here in the near future.
That's beautiful, because we need more attention to be paid towards the abused and the neglected and the degraded and all that stuff, because trauma is a real thing. I don't think people realize how deep it can affect you, because
Yeah.
an incident that can cause trauma can take years just to get back to where you once was before the trauma even happened to begin with. So the quicker you get on top of that and fix it in that right direction, the better off you'll be in due time, definitely. So Monique, if you were to give somebody pieces of advice as far as being like their own entrepreneur, having their own brand and business in their own right, what would be the three key pieces of advice you would give somebody off the top of your head?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. The three key pieces of advice, and I would say the pieces that I gave myself is just, for one, I would say always be working on yourself, always be trying to reach that next level. Yeah, for me, that was always important, of like, okay, as long as I'm like upgrading, I'm doing better, like I'm making lateral moves. That was very important to me. My second thing would be just go for it, just do it. And there will be a point where, like, okay, it's time. So for me, I knew that point was like, I had to give up everything that I knew. I had to give up everything that I was comfortable with, and all of these safety nets, to really start pursuing my dreams and my brand, in my life. Or I knew that I was just going to forever be working for somebody else, if I never started giving up all of those things that were occupying so much of our time. Because if there's one thing that's for certain, and that's that in this world, believe me, they will give you lots of things to do to occupy and consume your time, to leave you no time to work on yourself or your own business or your own brand. So my second thing would definitely be just go for it, start letting go of those safety nets and those cushions. And my third and final thing would be to surround yourself with motivated people. Get mentors, get like-minded individuals, people that you see doing stuff to help motivate you and inspire you, inspire others, and just, keep the positive energy around you. That's what I would say.
Those are great key pieces of advice. And for anyone who's listening to the podcast right now, what Monique just said, you need to play that on repeat multiple times to get that ingrained in your head, to where you can create that successful mindset to just simply go for it, just like Monique said, because that's the only thing what's stopping you from accomplishing your dreams and basically becoming your own brand and your own boss. It starts with you, last time I checked, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's for sure. Well, Monique, as we wrap up this interview for the podcast today, I have a list of questions that I basically ask everyone, just to get the people to know you a little bit and all that good stuff. My first question I have is, what is the first thing you do or think of every single day that you wake up?
You said, what is the first thing I think of when I wake up?
First thing you do or think of, yes, whenever you wake up every single day, like your own morning routine type thing.
Okay. Well, as much as I want to like say something very, like I want to say something awesome, but no, when I first wake up, let me tell you, I'm on my phone. I'm on social media. But I have a brand. So it's like, I'm checking messages. I'm checking my emails. I'm checking my different sites, and different things like that. So I am on social media when I wake up, and it's more so, and I'm just thinking of it like, like I just have things to take care of. Like even when I'm asleep, like I'm like, let me just check what I have to do. So, but besides that, after that, I'm trying to steer away from so much coffee, because coffee causes anxiety and things like that. So I've been doing my tea. So I have been starting a new routine. So I have like my morning, my black tea. I might go outside and, you know, I open the curtains. I want to get some sunlight in here. And I really just start setting the precedent for my day of like my calming tea, you know, seeing the sun, nature, like starting inviting the day in to get ready.
That's perfectly fine, and I appreciate your honesty with that. And to be honest, I I do the same thing. I may look at my phone maybe for a few minutes just to see if I have any messages or if anyone messaged me, and then I'm jumping right into my personal routine within itself. So that there's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's not just scrolling and getting yourself distracted, I think you're doing the right thing. To ask you my next question, to bring you a little bit into my world, what is your own personal definition of health and wealth to you?
Oh, that is a great question. First of all, I love what you do because health and wealth is so important, and especially for, you know, the Black community, to be specific. And my own definition of that would be, as far as health, just, you know, living healthier. I feel like nowadays, because of social media, that we are getting a lot of, you know, of messages from different people of just, you know, how maybe unhealthy things can be for us. Just, you know, food can be so unhealthy nowadays. So I really just, my definition of health would be to just be mindful about what you're eating and what you're putting in your body. You know, I know it can't happen overnight. Believe me, I've been trying to fix my diet for several years. I know it's very hard. Food is so good. But yeah, just, it's just being mindful, and not even just food, but health, also your mental health. Is super important. So, and again, that goes along with mindset and being mindful, again, even with your mental health, as far as what you're letting your mind see, or what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're doing. That all goes into your mental health. And then as far as wealth, I mean, I feel like wealth just coincides with our health, because I mean, a lot of people can see wealth as money or as a dollar number, as a, you know, as a dollar number, which you can see it as that too, but also think of it as how you're living your life. Like, are you fulfilling your purpose? And I feel like that is when you feel really wealthy, when you feel like you're living your purpose.
That is a great point, and I love what you just said. And we should just put that like somewhere, like on a caption or something, and have that somewhere. Wealth is living your purpose by Millionaire Mo. I love that. Being shared and on tweets and posts all over social media.
Yeah, that's what I see. Like wealth, like, and don't, you know, it's not all about money. People want to equate everything to money, but be wealthy in who you are.
Exactly, exactly. When you're not doing all the things that you're doing, and believe me, Monique, I know you got a lot of things on your plate. When you're not doing all those things, what are some of your favorite hobbies?
Wow. I mean, definitely writing. I love to write. So even though that's part of my job, I still like to write as a hobby too, because, you know, I mean, I like to be creative. And I'm always thinking of like, oh my God, this is a great idea for a book, you know, maybe the next $1 million idea. So I love writing. I love spending time with my daughter, just getting in tune with nature. You know, I try to take her on walks and to go feed the ducks, and we'll go to the beach and just get some sun. So I'm really focused on kind of teaching her healthier aspects of life and breaking generational curses and things like that. So I spend a lot of time with my child and just trying to reteach her a lot of old bad habits that maybe I was taught. I like to watch movies, you know, I like to watch movies every now and again, and write poetry. I know I said that, right, and read. That's what I like to do. Yeah, I'm not really, I like to have a good time too, you know, don't we all? But I don't really, like, I don't go out often or things like that. I think I'm more so naturally interested in someone who I like to do intellectual things, like as hobbies or for fun.
I know you're very passionate about writing, Monique, which is why I'm going to ask you this additional question just for you. Who is a writer or writers that influenced your writing style?
Oh, easy. Maya Angelou.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Maya Angelou.
Oh, Maya Angelou. Okay.
Yeah, she's definitely my, like, she's, I just love her. I just look up to her so much. All of her work, just how she came, about to be who she was. So she's definitely the one that I look to as far as like, just as a writing style or how to express my emotions or how to come off.
Interesting, interesting. I might have to look into her myself. My last question that I have for you, Monique, before I wrap everything up here, if you had the opportunity to go back in time and talk to yourself 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself? And where do you see yourself personally? Where do you see Millionaire Mo, your overall brand? Where do you see it going within the next 10 years?
Yes, if I could go back 10 years, I would tell myself to not get involved in the wrong crowd that I did, which completely changed the trajectory of my life. So I would have stayed in school and I would have been on the straight and narrow and I would have listened to my parents, because becoming grown, let me tell you, these bills and these life issues, I was in such a rush to be grown. And that was always my problem. So if I could go back, my main thing would be slow down. You do not need to be in a rush.
Oh man. And where do you see yourself and your overall brand and business going in the next 10 years? That 10
Yeah.
years.
I'm just hoping that, honestly, I'm hoping that, that my books continue to flourish and that I do become a top author. I hope that I have my own practice by then, my own counseling office where I'm helping others. I hope that my nonprofit is flourishing and I'm helping, thousands, millions of kids around the world. And I hope that, I really hope that I'm helping people as far, and I hope that I've achieved that number two, as far as where I can have enough money to be free to help other people. That's that. Yeah. I hope I answered. Did I answer it? I think so.
No, you answered it rather well, Monique. You really did. Now, I know where to find all your information, but for anyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series at this moment, let them know where they can find more about you.
Yes, you can. I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. So I'm on all social media platforms. I have my podcast on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube under Outspoken or Millionaire Mo. I do have my website, millionaire-mo.com. That's millionaire-mo.com. And that's where you can find my work. I do sell my work. You can find it on my website. Eventually I do plan on getting it on Amazon. And that's where I'm at right now.
Yes, anyone who's listening to the podcast right now, we need to come together and we need to support our local community, support Miss Monique Dennis and the work that she's doing, because believe me, it's a lot that she has on her plate, and believe me, it's only more that's going to come with it, because
yes,
I'm on her website right now. She has a wonderful website. Go visit it, millionaire-mo.com. Go purchase her Emotional State of Mind book if you're into great poetry, and just get in tune with what she has going on. I mean, she's here to help you. She's here to guide you in the right direction. I mean, yes, she may not have all the answers, but she'll at least help you find the right answers to where it can help guide you in the right direction. That I can guarantee you, and that is what I can take out of doing this interview today with the lovely Miss Monique Dennis, who took time out of her day to be a part of the HFWB podcast series, and even doing it on my birthday, the 1-year anniversary of her releasing her book, which makes this interview that much more special. Let me say that. And I want to tell you thank you for that, Monique. I really mean it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Cliff. You did such a great job, and you're always so accommodating and flexible. So I appreciate that energy from you.
Of course, that's what I'm here for. And for anyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, this is your host, Clifton Pope from HFWB, telling y'all once again to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, everybody.